you, I started my first business when I was a sophomore in college. I've never been like an employee ever, like in terms of just like being like there's nobody underneath me. I've always had people, and like I've always tried to have to give them direction and so forth. And then I realized it's an absolute privilege, right? It's not something that should be looked at as a problem, but as a opportunity and a privilege. And why I say that is because every single one of my directs, I sit down with them and I say this. I say, okay, be selfish just for 5 minutes with me and tell me 3 things that if at the end of 2024 you were able to accomplish or do, you would consider 2024 a big win. I would ask you to do the same right now. 3 things that you specifically want to do, that you feel like if you looked at your notepad and went back and said, yep, got that, got that, got that. And so, now, they have to be SMART goals, meaning specific, measurable, action, reality-based, time-based, meaning you're going to do it within this calendar year. That becomes an action item. We'll get that to the end of my discussion quickly on leadership and what I found in my experience and so forth. So each one of my directs always gives me these 3. Now, I don't know what happens, but I have to get a box of Kleenexes out every time I do this. Because when they get past the superficial KPIs or key performance indicators and they talk about what's important in their personal life, sometimes I just want to talk to my kids more. I want to be off my phone when I walk in the door to see my family. I want to achieve this position in the company. I want to be invited to this meeting. I want to develop a relationship with this group. I want to become a subject matter expert on this issue. I want to do this, I want to do that. Some things, I just want more peace, I want more calm. Some people, it's simple as, I want to be on time. I just want to feel like I'm not always so hurried. And if I feel like I've gotten that consistently, I mean, it just doesn't really, everybody's different. And what I do is I take those goals, and every single time I commit them to memory, and every time I see that person in the hallway, in the elevator, where I can see them at the store, I can tie back to them what they're focused on. And then it's our topic of conversation. How's it going? How's your daughter Sophie? Did you put your phone down when you walked through the door yesterday, or did you keep going? Oh, I know, I was trying so hard. I said, come on, you got it, you can do it. How are you focused on your next position? How are you going to be the next vice president of XYZ? How are you going to be the next director? How are you going to be the next manager? What are you going to do? What are you doing to put yourself in a position to achieve that objective? And they go, well, I want it. Cool. You want it. Wanting is a whole different thing than doing it. You've got to lay out a plan, okay? Leadership, vision, management, action, okay? It is managing the plan. You've got to build that plan for you. It's not just going to materialize because you want it. You've got to do it. I've never, ever, ever been given anything in my life where they said, oh yeah, Steve thought about it, so there it is. I had to build a plan to get there. And there were so many obstacles and so many people who were willing to tell me that it wasn't going to work. And then I just kept going. And so it's a new year. Hopefully, you're going to create, I don't know about new you, I think keep you, just maybe a little bit better. A little bit better you in your mind. What do you think is going to help you be better? Better mom, better daughter, better friend, better associate, better leader, better person? So let's talk about it. There's a big world out there. There's big opportunities. Never in the time in the history of mankind has there ever been an ability for the world to connect like it can today. 8 billion people on the planet, and almost all 8 billion of them have some communications device. I've literally been to places in India or small countries where people don't have a place to sleep, but they have a cell phone. They've got a smartphone. They're like texting somebody. No dinner for me tonight, me neither. But they've got a cell plan somehow. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how everybody has communication devices, but they can't have 3 meals a day, or they even have potable water to drink. It's incredible to me that they're communicating, they're talking. In fact, communities and tribes and people are literally connected in terms of what's happening with weather, what's happening with their crops, it's all through their phone. They're actually planning things around. We have never been in a position where you can actually send a message to so many people in one given time to help generate good or bad where you are. What are you doing to take advantage of this opportunity? We've never had it at Newskin. We've never had the ability to literally take a text message, post it on social, and connect with millions of people like we can now. We've never had that before. Now we're starting to get an infrastructure that's going to be significant to support you. And there's people who are figuring out how to use it. It's like money. It's like everything in life. Money isn't bad. Money isn't necessarily good. It's how you use it. There's some people who are going to push back and say, I don't want to deal with that Insta whatever, and I don't want to deal with the socials. Cool. You don't have to. Do you. Whatever you want to do. But for those who want to, it's there, and it's there for the taking, and it doesn't take a whole lot to learn how to do it. Literally, you can go online right now and take any number of courses. Several of them are free. To understand how, my daughter was telling me the other day, Dad, do you know how to take a selfie? It's not this, and you got down here, and you got this, and you find out which is your better side. I'm like, I don't have a good side. She goes, yeah, you got to find the good side. And then, it's like little bitty touches. Don't social blast this. Don't start with that. Provide information first. Don't just say, buy my product, here I am. It's, what did you do? All you did was just say, hey, can I reach into your pocket, grab some money, and here's some product. It doesn't make, give them something that's valuable and help them. Back to this empowering concept. Empower people. That's what we're talking about, okay? The empowerment economy, this is growing. It's one of the fastest growth categories in the entire world. It really is. It is going in such a huge way. What's interesting, though, is we're seeing a switch happening now, and the social influencers that people didn't know are not necessarily the ones they're trusting. It's their friends, and they're people that they do know that said, oh, I love this. You might be interested in it. And that's growing at a fast rate with celebrities, because they seem out of touch. It's like, okay, so XYZ celebrity says, I like that. But how much, the first question was how much they get paid to say that, how much they want out of that. It's kind of like goes, okay, that's the group. As opposed to, no, that's my aunt so-and-so, that's my brother, so, and whatever. You start to know these people are familiar, and you know that they're genuine. So, but there's a way you can do it, and we've set you up now. Vera and Stella are getting smarter and smarter. We're going to talk about that in just a second, too. We talked about our mission. We're absolutely committed to this. We're going to do everything in our power to give you the ability to share and bless as many people's lives as you possibly can, as you want to. This is a medium that will be available to you. I'm just going to give you some stats on this, okay? Just to give you some perspective. AI, if you look at ChatGPT and so forth, if you look at the number of followers, it did what it took. I think it was Instagram took like 6 months in terms of the followers to get to 1 million followers. They did in like 2 weeks or something like that. I mean, the type of things that are happening right now with social and Insta and being able to have access to AI and algorithms and the social chat and butterfly and all that sort of stuff that's going on right now, it's growing at an exponential rate. You can either be part of it or not. You don't have to be. But be aware of it, because people you might sponsor might be a part of it, and they need to know about these opportunities, because they may want to do this. You don't have to. Just be aware of it, and be aware of the tools that can help you share your information. You know where we're going with beauty and wellness. You know that we are Blue Ocean. We are truly bringing products that nobody has seen before. Nobody has. The patents are there. And then you add on this affiliate platform where you're able to share through social media and through the tools that Newskin to be able to share with the world these products and have it be super simple and super easy. We're getting better at this. We talked about these personalized beauty devices, and then we also talked about the fact that we combine this personalized beauty and wellness. Now, I have a list of products, and they literally are on the left-hand side what traditionally everyone calls these nutritional products. And on the right-hand side, all these beauty products, okay? And most companies are, like we talked about this morning, are happy with that. They're saying, hey, here's our beauty products, here's our wellness products, so forth, so on. If you need help here, this, da, 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 da. We're going completely away from that. Yes, there's categories, but we believe there's exponential benefit in both of them. We continuously see benefits. We actually have done the studies on Louis Spa, we saw collagen production. Okay? That was face, trying to clean the face, and suddenly you're generating collagen. Then you add collagen to that internally, you're generating collagen on the outside. Then there should be exponential levels of collagen, and we did a study and yes, there was. You see how that works? Now, think about it if you're doing a product, for instance, for teeth, and you realize that the microbiome, although it's traditionally here in the stomach, has a direct correlation with your mouth. And there's bacteria inside your mouth that are just directly related to what's happening inside your gut. And so if your gut's healthier, then you're less likely to have challenges with your teeth, with your gums, and so forth. And you combine a gut health product with a toothpaste. Huh? Wait a second, what? Gut health, toothpaste. I've heard some people say, if it makes my husband's breath smell better, then I'm all for it. So, great. That wasn't my wife, but that was someone else. But seriously, there's these connections that are going on inside of our bodies that we don't even know. Like, well, let's take for an example, TRV we talked a little bit about, and you guys know the benefits of TRV, and you know the impact that, I'm trying to be really safe here, there's so much I want to say. I wish I could just go and tell you guys everything I know, but when Joe and I went through all the studies and all the information, we saw what TRV really does, and each individual product and component, it was just amazing. And just so you know, the very first contract I signed in 2018, the very first contract with a vendor I ever signed with New Skin, when they bought my company, and then I came on and helped them with their supply chain now with the products and everything else, was this. This was my very first contract. I signed this because there was an active constituent in TRV that was directly related not to weight management, but there was a benefit from a mind health standpoint. To help with your mind, to help with your ability to deal with challenging situations, an adaptogen that basically made you more resilient and so forth. And, oh, by the way, it also helped staving off hunger hormones and some other stuff too. So I signed this contract back in 2018. So we were on the hook for raw materials all the way back in 2008, think about that, 6 years ago. Okay, so, and then we went to work, because that's how we do things in music. We had to prove everything out. They told us everything that they thought it was going to do for us, and then we started looking at beauty. Then we started looking at body. Then we started looking at mind. And then we looked at the combinations of all of these things. And we said, what if we use this in combination with that? Or if we use this in combination with that? And we started to build out this platform that you now see as TRV, which will now have connections with over 1,000 other products. Not just this product, but you'll be able to pair edge with something, protein with something, other than just TRV. Because everybody's different. Every single person is different. But we want to understand how we can develop this. Do you know, when you take a nutrition, for instance, it's really important people to understand this. For instance, when you do a certain nutrient, say it's calcium or vitamin D or magnesium, most people understand these are cofactors. And what cofactors mean is basically they rely upon each other to be absorbed. And if you don't have one of these cofactors, then the absorption rate goes down dramatically. So for instance, if you're taking, let's just say magnesium or something like that, and you don't have any vitamin D in combination with that, then the absorption rate is much reduced. So a lot of people say, oh, why did you guys put that small amount of vitamin D in this? Or why did you put the selenium, which balances out vitamin E, into that? Why did you put vitamin C with the B vitamins at that ratio? Because if you go higher, the absorption rate changes. If you go lower, it changes. You've got to get to that optimal rate of absorption. You understand? There's synergies within these nutrients. And they all have what's called receptor sites. So when you're going into the body, they all have these like receptor sites that they're looking at and they're saying, oh, there's my landing point. And I'll go land on that and I'll get absorbed in the system. But guess what? There's receptor sites that are common, meaning that multiple things can be receptor sites for that. So if you have something else that's already on that receptor site, that comes in, misses it, and gets sloughed off, and it's metabolic waste. So what you want to do is you want to make sure that each one of your formulas are balanced so that you have the right amount of ingredients at the right ratios. So your vitamin E, your selenium, your magnesium, your vitamin D, your calcium, all these things are balanced, and that goes with all of the herbs. Everything we do, we go after and we look at the extract. The active constituents, for instance, in meta, it's anthocyanins. There's a specific level of anthocyanins that are in there. Did you know, by the way, that our team in the research, a little side note, our team in the research found anthocyanins that science hadn't previously found. We found them. We presented the documentation to the Science Academy. The Science Academy then asked us to name it because no one had ever found it. Our science team actually found the active anthocyanin, that's the active constituent in meta. A lot of people go, oh yeah, you got some stuff that's got blueberry stuff in there, right? Yeah, it's that sort of thing. No. We isolated the extract over 7 years to find a very specific anthocyanin that generated the outcomes that we see in that. Big difference. So they asked us to name it. Now, scientists are funny people, man. I love those scientists. They're great. But they wrote the summary and they said, okay, call it Duskindin. So it's now called Duskindin on the Annals of Science. So now there's an anthocyanin that's now called Duskindin. Believe it or not, it's a true fact. And nobody can use the ingredient without calling it Duskindin. So if you're ever using our ingredient, then, that's what's happening. It's true. And the point is that we're looking at things, so many people are looking at things like, oh, we need some more like macronutrients and some micronutrients, so we'll throw some of this and throw some of that, and we'll put it into a bottle and we'll sell it. And we're like saying, that's whatever. What we're doing is we're saying, what active constituents do we need to be able to verify the equation to know that the outcome will be this and this and this, and if we add this in from the external side, it amplifies the benefit of this, which drives that. Oh, now I see what's happening, and this together is all gone through the success process for safety, for potency, to make sure it's the product that you're supposed to have. Now, a lot of people say, oh, sometimes using products cost too much. Well, okay. You can go to Walmart and buy your stuff, or go to, not anything against Walmart. You go up to the retail side and get whatever you want. You get your vitamin for $2.99 or $9. I mean, you get what you pay for. But the level of rigor and study that goes into what we do is different. Over each product, like this tyranny right here, there's probably, before this ever gets to you, there's somewhere close to around 200, I think it's 217, for tyranny, it's 217 tests that are done before it ever gets to you on each batch. Organoleptic properties, sensory characteristics, microbiological characteristics, active constituents, all the validations. So there's studies by the vendors, there's studies by us, there's active analysis through our existing lab, through our secondary third-party labs. There are so many different tests that are done before to make sure that's right for you. It's a whole different ballgame. So again, some people say, hey, can you compare against these guys? Because they're a little bit cheaper. I saw them on the internet. It's like, go for it. If you want a collagen product that's cheaper, there's a ton of them out there. If you want a collagen product that is based upon science that shows the specific molecule level that is absorbed into the body much, much safer, that also provides a carotenoid that drives a scanner spore, which also is linked to a phytoceramide that actually increases the overall moisture of the skin, and at this specific level actually generates the collagen that you need for healthy optimal levels. Great! I just haven't seen their science. But I've seen ours, and I know that Joe used this ratio of that, and that ratio of this, and he kept adjusting and adjusting, and the team kept adjusting and adjusting until they got to the exact ratio. It's different. What we do here is different. Now, I'm only going to plant one seed, but we've heard from you guys, several of you, is yes, you love it, we love it, but not everybody can afford $100 products or $200 products. Well, I'm going to say 2 words, but don't get too excited about it. Don't get over the moon. Just know that we've heard you. And there's another, if you want to call it trend, that's coming into these communities called affordable luxury. Meaning, how can you have the science and the rigor, but just be a little bit more affordable so everyone else can afford it? So think that we're not so elitist and thinking outside that we don't understand the concept that is so important. People say, hey, I want it all, but I just can't always get there. Especially new people who are new to the business who've never even tried it. They're getting their belief into something, but they haven't had the experience yet, like many of us have had. And they haven't had the product experience. They don't know it for themselves. They're kind of doing it on faith. So give them an entry point where they can come into the business with success certified products, but yet we can give them an affordable experience that's a little more affordable depending on the type of category. But also still have our premium brands, all the products and all the science and all this. We don't give up on that. Because if it's a lowest cost, fastest delivery, it's a race to the bottom and nobody wants to be part of that. Because there's no value. There's zero value. What's valuable is true science being delivered on a consistent basis that's really going to deliver product value to you. So, with that said, give me a little teaser. So, now, this is actually, outside of Provo, this is the first time I've even talked about this. So be very, very careful with this, okay? So you are taking pictures, you are stewards of this, and I'm going to ask that you not necessarily blast this out and share a ton. I've only got very few slides, but I promised John I would do this. John and I were together a little over a week ago, and he saw a little bit of this and what the team's been working on. But we are so excited. Oh my goodness. We're so excited. We've been working on this, like I said, for a long time. And ocean people are going, what the heck? We got one right out there. I know. This is a whole different way to think about things. It's about mindset. And there are so many challenges going on in the world. And we talked a little bit about that before. And from our standpoint, we've asked a simple question. Think about this. 20,000 people were asked this question. This is your own monitor. Voice of the customers. This is not new skin. This is independent data that's come out. And they asked the simple question, what does being healthy mean to you? Okay? And the number one question that came back from that survey, and the answer to that survey, there's like a whole host of questions, but this was the predominant one that was just not even close. It wasn't even close. The number one question, number one answer was, what does being healthy mean to you? And it was mental well-being. It wasn't immunity, it wasn't energy, it wasn't vitality, it wasn't this. It says, if I'm mentally strong, that's where it starts. You know, we've lasted through 2020 has been rough, right? I mean, you think about what we've gone through as a world. The emotional wear and tear that's gone on into the world and the challenges that we're dealing with on a consistent basis are significant. I talked this morning about having a healthy mind and, you know, you have the strongest body in the world. They always talk about athletes, and they talk about the fact that, you know, the athletes, you get to a certain level and they're all really amazing athletes and they all can give gifts in terms of physical structure and then they built up further and so on. But the very, very top, when you really go back, you might know the top athletes, top scholars, everyone, it's their mind. How strong can they be when they go through difficult times? How nice can they be when they go through difficult times? Literally. How do you treat your children or your friends or your family members when you just had a worst day ever? When you got this nasty text from somebody that totally did you wrong? Or somebody that, how do you respond to that? How do you talk to yourself? We are our biggest critics. I mean, there is no question about it. We run ourselves down left, right. We don't look like that. We don't feel like that. We don't make as much money as that. We don't do this. We don't. This has been, unfortunately, the doom and gloom of what we've gotten through. It's like social media said, high school, you thought it was over. Now it's right back here. Here comes high school. Here's the haves and the have-nots, and I'm going to prove it to you. And it comes into your feed all the time. But it's not always bad because, again, we talk about social is how you use it. Okay? But if you're not set up, and our poor children in many cases are filled with drugs with this, if they're not set up mentally mature enough to recognize this is their best day, they think, oh, that's what I'm supposed to be. I'm not that. Okay, then I suck. And I must be over here. Or they got that test score, or they got this, or they got that, they got this. You start doing this constant comparison, it goes down to people who have matured say, well, that's nice. But unfortunately, they're seeing time and time again, people are in a funk right now, generally speaking. And they're living quiet lives of frustration in many cases. They don't talk about it. There's a stigma still to this day. And when they do, half the room will say, hey, we're with you. And the other half will say, okay. And they don't know what to say. They don't know what to do. They don't know how to help. They're not there. So, the reality is you can stand on the sideline and go, yeah, that's a problem. Or you can be on the front line and start doing something about it. We all know there's a direct correlation between nutrition and a healthy mindset and a healthy cognitive function. Okay? Babies are born to docetonic acid. It comes directly from breast milk. Okay? It's the number one thing. It's the fat that's going into developing the brain of the child. Okay, number one thing, docetonic acid. Where is docetonic acid? Oh, it just happens to be in lipids, which you can find in Optimum Omega and Omega type products. Okay, so we're talking about fish oils and those types of things. And so DHA, as it's predominantly known, or omega 3s, is predominantly found in nutrition. You can see it. Now, why do they call it essential fatty acids? Our bodies don't need them. Okay, that's the difference. Okay? Some things our bodies can do. Other things, again, they have to get it from what they eat. Okay? So what I'm trying to say is that when you're talking about cognitive health, because, oh, that's just a bunch. No. What is feeding your body, whether it's collagen levels, whether it's heart health, whether it's all the different functions there by microbiome and so forth, is true with the brain. What you're feeding it is either amplifying the functionality or declining. It just is. I'm not telling you stuff that's crazy quackery. It's reality. And so there's functionality that's happening in the brain, and it's helping people either win or lose. But what I hear time and time again from coaches, from my employees, from people I work with, CEOs that I work with, business advisors, guys, billionaires, people I've worked with for my entire career, they say, Steve, it always seems to be that when people can make that little bit of a shift cognitively and be able to handle the stress or anxiety or deal with it better, or have the ability to intake information quickly and remember it, and that helps get them that little bit of separation to help them really achieve things that they want to achieve in life. And we've known that, and now we know that it's the number one thing that people are focused on to make sure that they know that they're healthy. Okay? Let's look at the categories real fast. This is from a nutraceutical standpoint. It's not a pharmaceutical standpoint. If you were to do this, it's 10x this, okay? If you look at it from a pharmaceutical standpoint. If you look at it just from a nutritional standpoint, look at these categories: sleep, memory, mood, focus, brain longevity, stress. This is the size of those markets in terms of consumption of products people are taking. Billions and billions and billions of dollars. If you add the pharmaceutical and all the other stuff, cognitive health therapists, psychologists, it's hundreds of billions of dollars. Hundreds of billions of dollars. And a lot of us just want to say, oh man, that's tough. I don't know exactly what to do with it. And I'm not a doctor and I can't. Well, no, you're not a doctor. But again, direct relationship to what we put in our bodies or on our bodies to potentially helping that person to work through it. Okay? And you have access to a lot of these products. In fact, Joe Chang was telling me the other day, he says, you know, see, if it were me, and there was the one thing I could do today, because certain things aren't out yet, because I have people on, if from a cognitive health, what's our number one priority? Since youth, no question asked. No question asked. He said, I would have people on youth every single day just to help with cognitive health function. Okay? And he says that because it has, what we talked about, essential fatty acids. It has all the vitamins, minerals at a certain ratio. It helps the macronutrient profiles. It's such a beautiful, beautiful product to help with cognitive health. Okay? So think about that from a functionality standpoint, and that's something you can do today for yourself and or for other people to share with. Okay? Now, if you look at it, the compound annual growth rate, Asia Pacific is kind of an important area, I think. So if you look at the Pacific area, it's the fastest growing regional market, 15.9% compound annual growth rate. So you say, oh, it's just those crazy Americans, those guys, they're silly. No, this is the world, and everybody's in it at some different level, or being affected by it. One time, I won't do it here, but one time I asked the question, how many of you know somebody who wishes they could either A, get smarter, remember more, or potentially we're going through stress or anxiety and it's impacting their overall quality of life? And I haven't raised your hands. There wasn't one person had translation issue. Everybody's hands are up. Some people, 2 hands are up from the same person. It's honest and true. And you know what's really crazy is last time I did a presentation on this, this is the saddest thing, and I hate it, I hate it, I hate it. And we're going to, trust me, John, we're going to elevate it up, we're going to get better. I just had to kind of set the tone in terms of where we're going. This is an important area. But you know how many people texted me and said, Steve, here's been my experience. Here's my experience. Here's my experience. I didn't ask them to. They just said it to me. They just said, hey, here's been my experience. Here's the situation with my daughter. Here's the situation with my grandmother who is really struggling. She's this age. She's going through this whatever time in life and so forth, and this is what's happening. And this is just heartbreaking to us and the entire family. Do you have any recommendations? Those types of things. I mean, but think about it. Now, if there's a thought process that says, well, I'm not a doctor, I can't solve the problems, but there might be a couple of things that I could do that I can share with you that you can support. So then you can send a message with Joe Chang or with Helen Nax or with one of the 60 other scientists that we have on staff that can talk specifically about this, the benefits of nutrition, how it can help them in their life. Now you're empowering somebody. Back to the mission. Back to what we're doing. You go, oh, how much can we get upline and this, and if I put them on my first line, and then I'm not saying that's a problem. I'm just saying you now are thinking about how can I help them or their friend or their other people, and you're sharing. And you're sharing because you want to share, and then things start to happen. And if you're sharing, then you potentially could share some of the products that may be coming up at the end of the share. Because Ocean is a line of products that potentially just might be coming this year. And depending on your market, and depending on the things that your regulatory agencies require and so forth, you may not get it right away. I know. I already heard the people from Malaysia wanting to kill me. But anyways, but the reality is this will be available. This is a big issue for us. For Newsweek. Because we care. Because we want to see people have a health that is truly holistic. Not just strong or supple skin, or whatever it may be, or great hair, whatever. Those are all wonderful things. Don't get me wrong. But let's balance it out with some other things too, and true holistic health is there. So, you'll say, well, Steve, that was pretty soft. You didn't give us a punchline. That's right, I did. And I would have gotten in big trouble, and you wouldn't see me next year because they would have said, okay, Steve, you gave away too much. But that was more than anybody else has gotten anywhere in the world, so you're welcome. So anyway, so that's there. Now, this is the one thing you can do right now. There is a direct relationship, as I mentioned before, between the well spa and tier me in terms of mental health. How you feel and how you feel afterwards, because you're basically doing this with your body and you're helping it. You know, it shows you perception studies and everything else that goes on there. You can act on this today. This is something that's there today. We're also going to start releasing some additional information related to the overall mind, body, holistic approach to this, and some different ways people are using the products and the other studies that we're having. So there is study after study, information after information, science after science is now going to be released to you on a more consistent basis. Hopefully you're on Vera, hopefully you see Stella, hopefully you get access to these apps. I know. There's been some challenge, but nobody started with everything perfect the first day. We keep getting better. We keep getting better. We keep getting better. And if you'll see the content stack that's set up for the digital team this year, it is unbelievable. They finally got through all the cobwebs, through all the massive problems and challenges and issues that they're going through, and they're really starting to make some serious traction in this area. So we're going to start releasing information and content that I think you're going to be really excited about. It's going to be through Vera, and then you can then share on with other people, and then it's just you can look at organizations differently. It's just going to be totally different. But sometimes people say, oh, well, what is Ocean, and what are the products, and when can we order, and stuff like that. And I said, let me just put that over here for a second, and stay right here, right now, and this is what you can do right now. So 2024, new you, better you, 3 things, hopefully you got them down, okay? And you can start right here. Now, these apps, expect more. That's all I can say. Expect more. We are going to make this as simple and as fast as possible to be so that you can share this and not go, oh, I hope the link worked, or oh, I hope the app worked, or anything like that. That it starts to flow where you're not asking those questions. It's just going to go. So just expect that. So instead of it just being this theory that empower me will really empower you, the whole concept here, and I said this to a couple people in the break, we have this entire Empower Me line set up in 2020. It's so great. I'm so excited. And I started to get out there, and I started to go digital. Ryan did his digital president and all that sort of stuff. And then we got into the attic of the digital house and found out that there was like all sorts of stuff missing from the technology stack that we had from years and years and years ago. And we're like, oh, crud. It's almost like you're building a house, and you're saying, oh, we're going to add this entire west wing, it's going to be so beautiful, and then we're going to redo all this, and I said, yeah, that's not your problem. Your foundation's sinking, you got to start over. It's like, oh my gosh. So we had to put our big plans on hold and go fix the foundation first, get the helical piers in there, and start making sure everything was like steady and consistent. That took too long, but it's there. And now we're in a position where we can start building on it and build this home, and so it's going to start getting a lot of fun, and you guys are going to really enjoy it. So now Empower Me will truly empower you, and it'll be a lot more so you can build your brand, build your business, build your opportunity the way you want to build it. Some people say, well, I want to build it through Tier 90. Cool, go do it. I want to build it through Tier Me. Go do it. I want to build it through youth. Go do it. Number 1 selling product in Japan is Life Back. Number 1 selling product in Europe is collagen. Number 1 selling product in the U.S. Any guesses? No.
New Biome?
New Biome is one of the best-selling products, and I heard from a birdie somewhere that New Biome is something that Pacific was interested in.
Yes.
I'll leave that one there. Don't know anything about that, but just so you know, there's a lot of people who like the new biome and who like the microbiome and like the fact that the microbiome helps their entire body in a lot of ways. And if you look at what's the most successful product in Korea, Youth. Number one problem. Number one. Now, when I tell you these things, the reason I'm telling you these things is because if you're from a market and you say, oh, I'm going to do that, and that's who I am, or I'm not an influencer, or I'm not this, or I'm not that, what I'm trying to say to you is, guess what? Nobody's like that. Everybody is different. How a Japanese distributor will pull somebody into LifePack in Japan on subscription is totally different than, for instance, somebody brings in somebody through LumiSpa in the United States, which is totally different than how somebody would, for instance, bring somebody into collagen in Europe, which is totally different, again, than somebody who brings in somebody through youth in Korea, versus somebody in Southeast Asia who brings somebody in through Meta, which is their single vision. Okay? So, when you're thinking about these things, don't cookie cutter yourself. Look at success models, find the products you believe in, find the products you use, find the products that make a difference in your life, and then go to work. That's the model, okay? It's not any one thing. Everybody has their own way of doing it. You've got some amazing leaders in this room, some amazing leaders in this room. Find out what they're doing from a duplication standpoint. Find out why they're so excited about a product if you've never heard of it. Take the time to look at the PDP pages. Anything I told you from stage today, all you have to do to get yourself out of hot water and say, no, I got Steve on video. Yeah, that's great. But what you want is you want to go to your specific geographic region, go onto the website, find the product, find the PDP page that says the information about the product and tells you exactly what you can say and what you can't say. Stay there. Don't go off and talk about things that you should be talking about. Just talk about what's there. Steve Lund says, just tell them what we already have done. It's good enough, and it's amazing. Okay? Stay safe, stay with those PDP pages. The company is spending a significant amount of money. Number one, world's leading medium wellness company. That's our goal. We want to be this. We believe we can do it. We're so lucky to have you. I can't even tell you how lucky we are. You know, L'Oreal or Estee Lauder or Avon or all these things, it was normal thing. We just didn't have a tenth of our leadership. Because you guys are so strong, so resilient, so capable, and you have such a great relationship. Most people are trying to make that connection, but you guys do it daily. We're so lucky to have you. But have you made your decisions? Have you made those big goals? Have you decided what you're going to do this year? Because if you haven't, as they've always taught me, and I've always taught my teams, I say, look, if you don't have a plan, somebody else does, and you're part of it, unless you have your own plan. You've got to make your own plan. You've got to find out what 3 things are going to really change your life this year. What are you going to do differently to get those? And start building the plan. That's the only way I know how to succeed. It's the only way. By 33, everybody told me to retire. I said, be done. And I'm not saying that because I'm bragging or anything like that. It's just, I was in a place I didn't need anything else. I didn't need anything else financially. Generational wealth at a point where I'm good. I'm not trying to say I didn't do it through the music business per se. I'm saying what I was in a place where I've met other like-minded people who are in a similar place and they felt the exact same way. They never stopped. They never got up and said, oh, I'm done, finished. No, I was just getting started. I was just having fun. And without having the pressure on a day-to-day basis of just trying to get the basic needs out, I could actually start thinking about things a little differently and strategically and start moving. I only did it because I got up early. Put my goals into play. But I first had to have a vision. I had to map out that vision. I had to make a commitment to myself that I was going to start doing some specific things. I put my goals in play, and I started to work my plan. And I did it every single day. And it was me in the mirror every single day. It's the only way I did it. I'm not perfect. I'm not the greatest example, but I can tell you that I will not go a day without going through that. I have to. I have to do it. So, if you don't believe me, this is my final slide. So, Most of you probably know who this guy is. If you don't, it's the chairman of the board. His name is Steve Lund. He's the founder of New Skin along with Blake Cronin and Sandy Tillotson. And Steve is one of those unique people in life who has been there and done that in so many places around the world. Never tells anybody, doesn't take a whole lot of laps around waving how great he is. He just is just amazing. He's just an amazing man. He's somebody who cares deeply about people. He's excited about giving that young man a high five as he is about giving anybody in the halls of New Skin a high five, as giving any trooper a high five. He cares about every single person he comes into contact with. I'm telling you, he's one of my greatest heroes in my entire life. He's the chairman of the board. He is so committed to what we do. He could have easily said, hey, look, I made my run, made a lot of money, I'm out. And go do whatever you want to do and drive whatever you want to drive and live wherever you want to live. And that's great. He can do that. What he chooses is strives every single day to make an impact on people's lives. He does it through these primary areas. Number one, it starts with character. When Steve Lund says something, he does it. When he commits to something, he does it. I've never seen him waver, ever, 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 ever. Character is what builds, and if you don't have the character, it doesn't matter if you have everything else there. If you're wish-washy and you say this to this person, you say that to that person, and you start to erode and forget where all the lies are buried, and suddenly now you're in this bunch of muck. As Blake says, don't ever sponsor icky people, and that includes yourself. Don't be icky. You know what I'm talking about. Be honest with yourself. Have the integrity to hold yourself accountable. Give yourself a break, because we're all human. We make mistakes. And get back up and try to do it better tomorrow. This is a process. It doesn't happen overnight. You don't get character overnight. You get it over developing time and time again, being tested by people who come up to you and kick you in the shins, and you got to smile somehow. And not give them back. Sometimes the person that's literally you want to knock out is the one person you should be giving a handout to and saying, how can I help? And sometimes you walk away. My point is, character is what you do. It's not what other people do to you. It's what you do. Number two, if it's about people, you'll win. It'll ultimately always come back to you. If you get enough people, if you help, as it says, if you get help enough other people get what they want in life, you'll get what you got in life. I believe that 100%. More times I've done that. Whether it's my neighborhood, whether it's like grabbing the trash cans for my neighbors, whether it's helping somebody through a difficult time, whether it's somebody who just wants to talk for 2 seconds and just get it all off their chest. They don't want an answer. They just want you to listen for 2 seconds. Then listen. Maybe it's somebody who just lost their job and needs some other opportunity. Maybe it's somebody who has a job who's underemployed. Maybe it's somebody who doesn't know how to really talk to people or connect with people. Maybe it's something else. But once you decide you're in the people business, you're now in a place to win. Third, vision. We talked about so many times. If you don't have a vision, you've got to map it out. Map out your vision of what you want it to be. Somebody else will take control of your life. They just always will. They'll come in and they've got a vision and they're going to make you part of whatever they want. Have a vision. That's okay to partner with somebody, but don't let them take away what you've got set. Okay? I have a very clear vision of what I want to accomplish. Lucy has a very clear vision. John Hobby has a very clear vision. He's presented that about what Pat can be and what he wants it to be. I'm telling you, that John Hobby, he is amazing. He has such a clear, succinct vision of what Pacific can be and how big and wonderful and incredible and how many people in life you can impact. And he's counting on this room to do that. It's so fun. If you don't know, talk to him, and he'll give it to you, and he'll give you that vision, and you'll get goosebumps because it's so cool, and it impacts a lot of people. You have to be intentional. What is your intention? If you get up in the morning and you don't have any intention, you have to be intentional. You have to be intentional about who you are, what you're doing, where you're sitting, where you're going. It doesn't have to be exhaustive. It can just simply be something where you say, I And you're going to be focused and intentional to be able to make sure this happens. And do it. So many people don't want to do that. They want to go the easy route, kind of slide over to the left and say, I don't know, I didn't ever want it, so I don't be intentional. And the last thing is mindset. I don't have time, but I'd love to get into it and tell you a million stories. But I look at Sean Brady, and I look at his mindset about going from where he was to where he is today. I look at John and his mindset. He's never walked into a meeting in Provo with an attitude of, this sucks, I hate it, this is boring, you guys are stupid, I don't get it. His mind is open, he's listening, he's trying to provide input, he's trying to provide insight, he's trying to understand where people are going, he's trying to first to understand and then be understood. He's really trying to get the right mindset, and then he keeps moving forward, gets hit, keeps moving forward, has people who fall out, who promise things, and they don't deliver, and he keeps moving forward. The mindset isn't, you just hurt me, you just caused me pain. It was like, that happened, but I will still keep moving forward. I will still keep moving forward on my vision, on my plan, through my goals, and I will win. I will win, because I will keep moving forward. I can't be here today if I decided to not keep moving forward. It's a mindset. Stephen Hawking sat in a chair, quadriplegic, had his brain, could keep moving forward. It's here. It's right here. Make sure you have integrity, character. Make sure it's solid. Make sure that you know for sure what your vision is. Make sure that you have a plan. And don't give up on yourself. Because you're going to make a mistake. And so are people around you. Love them. Give them some grace. Kick them in the butt once in a while. Not physically. And just give them the nudge they need sometimes. And they'll win. They'll surprise you. And it's going to be an amazing 2024. So excited to be with you. So grateful at Pacific. Thank you so much for letting me be here. You guys.